Alright, back again with yet another ChatGPT tier list. Today we've got survivors ranked by how well they do in a horror movie escape room. Alright, so first survivor we got Dweet. Now I think Dweet would definitely stumble over pressure here, so I don't think he would do well. I think he would just be freaking out most of the times. So sorry Dweet, but you're going in C tier, my friend. Next up we got Meg. Now Meg, I feel like she would do well in a horror movie escape room. I feel like she would hold her own here. She would definitely find some clues to escape, so I'm going to put her up there in A tier. Next up we got Claude. Similar to Meg, I feel like Claude, she is very smart, so she can definitely find some clues. I feel like she would be scared, but I think she would still manage to do something. So I am actually going to put her up there in S tier just because she can work out something by her own. Next up we got Jake. Now Jake isn't really known for his intelligence that much, so I don't think he would find many clues in a horror movie escape room, so highly doubt he'll manage. But I feel like when he works with other teams, or when he works with other survivors, he would do well. So B tier is where this guy is going to go. Moving on, we got Nia. Now Nia is a little bit complicated to rate because I feel like she would definitely hold her own. She wouldn't be as scared as like Dweet or something like that. She's like similar to Jake here. She's not as smart as like Meg or even Claude at that point. So I feel like B tier is where she is going to go. Next up we got Lori. Now Lori, she is pretty smart. She does have very good survivor instincts due to Michael Myers, but all around escape room isn't just about surviving, you also need to escape the room, so you would need to find clues. However, I would feel like she would also be excellent at that, so I'm going to go ahead and put her up there in S tier next to Claude. Next up we got Ace. And I feel like Ace, I mean, he would do well but not that well. I feel like he would just try to charm his way out, which won't exactly work, so I'm going to put this guy up there in C tier next to Dweet. Next up we got Bill. Now Bill, he has been in many horror movies before and he has managed to escape. However, we're talking about an escape room here, meaning again that you will need to find clues in order for you to actually escape. That's what an escape room is. However, I do feel like his survivor instincts would kick in and he will manage to actually survive, so I am going to put this guy up there in A tier next to Meg. Next up we got Fang. Now Fang, it really depends. She could either be excellent or she could just be frightened and do nothing here. However, I feel like in general she wouldn't struggle at all in an escape room. I feel like she would actually do well. She would find clues and she would keep herself together. So I'm actually going to put her up there in A tier next to Meg and Bill. Next up we got David. Now David, he's really known for his smart actions here. I feel like this guy would just freak out a bunch and won't really help out or find any clues. So sorry David, but you have to go in D tier, my friend. Next up we got Quentin. Now Quentin does have good survivor instincts. He has been in a horror movie before, but in an escape room again it's a little bit different. However, he will definitely be able to work together as a team, so I'm going to put him up there in A tier. Moving on, we got Tab. Now Tab, I feel like he would definitely do well in a horror movie escape room here. This guy would find clues. He is a detective at the end of the day, so I'm going to straight up put him up there in S tier. Next up we got Kate. Now Kate, I feel like she could be a little bit smart and actually find some decent clues and actually could manage to escape. However, I won't feel like she's as good as like Tap or like Claude up there in S tier. But she does have her perks and she does have her upsides and downsides, so I'm going to put her up there in A tier. Next up we got Adam. Now Adam, I don't really see this guy surviving an escape room, to be quite frankly honest. However, he is smart, so I will give him props to that. He will be able to actually find some clues to escape, but I feel like he will struggle a bit, so I'm gonna put him up there in B tier. Next up, we got big boy Jeff.
My name is Jeff.
Jeff could either be smart and actually manage to put something together, or he could just be an ignorant teammate who will do absolutely nothing. It's really difficult to rate him, but I feel like overall in general, he deserves a spot in B tier. Next up, we got Jane. Now Jane, I feel like she would actually be excellent in escaping a horror escape room. She would definitely work in a team quite well. She would find clues and actually put something together pretty fast. I feel like she has the knowledge, so I'm going to put her up there in S tier. Next up, we got Ash. This guy again has been in some horror movies multiple times. He did find multiple clues as well in horror movies, so nothing bad there. I'm just gonna go ahead and put this guy in S tier. Next up, we got Nancy. Now, Nancy, she would definitely find clues if you've watched Stranger Things. She's very good at finding clues and stuff like that. Even in an escape route, I would feel like she would be an excellent survivor for it. I'm just gonna put her up there in S tier. Same with Steve here, big boy Steve. You're going to go with Nancy in S tier as well.
Ahoy, ladies!
Next up, we got Yui. Now, Yui, I have mixed thoughts about her. I feel like she would do well in escape room, but at the same time, she won't. I do know that she would work excellent in a team, so she will most likely be able to put something together. So I guess based only on that, I will put her up there in A tier. Next up, we got Zarina. Now Zarina, she's kind of like a photographer. I think that's like her lore, I'm pretty sure, unless I'm mistaken. If she were to be in a horror escape room, I think she would honestly excel at it. She wouldn't be bad. But I think she does have a lot of downsides as well. So A tier is where she is going to go. Next up, we got Cheryl. Now, if you've seen Silent Hill, you know Cheryl, she does know how to actually escape a horror movie. So I think she would probably excel in escaping a horror escape room. So I'm just going to go ahead and put her up there in S tier.
Nice.
Next up, we got Felix. Now, Felix, I feel like he's smart, so he'll definitely be able to put some things together and find some clues in order for them to escape. But I would feel like he's also has his limits, so he's not gonna be insanely smart. So I'm going to put him up there in B tier. Next up, we got Elodie. Now, Elodie, I'm not entirely sure about her because I feel like she would do well at the beginning and then flop at the end. For some reason, I just think that that's what she would do if she were in an escape room, but I'm not entirely sure. So I feel like I'm going to put her up there in B tier as well. Next up, we got Yon. I feel like Yon, since she's kind of like an artist, like a music producer, she wouldn't really be that good in escape room. I think she would definitely struggle quite a bit. Even if she works as a team, I feel like she would a little bit struggle to put some clues together and actually escape. So, sorry Yun, but you are also going in B tier. Next up, we got Jill. Next up, we got Leon. Moving on, we got Michaela. Now, Michaela, she's a witch, so I think she would definitely be smart enough to escape an escape room. So, I'm just going to go ahead and put her up there in A tier without any doubt. Next up, we got Jonah. Honestly, I don't really see this guy escaping a horror escape room at all. I doubt we'll actually manage to find clues or anything like that. So, sorry buddy, but you have to go in C tier. Next up, we got Yoshi. This guy wouldn't be bad. I think he would manage to obtain some knowledge in the escape room in order for you to actually escape. However, I think he would struggle. I honestly think this guy would be a little bit on the downside there. So, I'm going to go ahead and put this guy in B tier. Next up, we got Hadi. Now, Hadi, if she were to be in an escape room with other people, I feel like she would do well. Alone, most likely she will struggle a lot. So, just purely based on that though, so I'm going to put her up there in A tier. Next up, we got Ada and I guess Rebecca as well. Next up, we got Vittorio. Yeah, this guy is kind of similar to Yona here in my opinion. I don't really think he has the knowledge to actually escape the escape room. I feel like he would just be confused for most of it. So, I am sorry my friend, but I am going to put you up there in C tier. Next up, we got Talita. I honestly think as well she will struggle quite a bit. So, I'm just also going to go ahead and put her in C tier. Next up, we got Renato. Similar to Talita here in a way. I don't really think these guys have the knowledge or the brain power to actually manage an escape room. I honestly think this guy may be a little bit worse than Talita. So, I'm sorry my friend, but you have to go in D tier next to David. Next up, we got Gabriel. Now, Gabriel, again, similar to Renato here. I don't think this guy would manage to actually escape an escape room. I highly doubt it. So with all that said, D tier as well is where this guy is going to go. Next up, we got Nick. Next up, we got Ellen. Next up, we got Alan. Moving on, we got Sable. I feel like Sable, she's actually pretty smart, but I don't think she's as smart as the people in S tier. I feel like people in S tier would do much better of a job than her. So, sorry Sable, but you're gonna have to go in A tier, but you were very strong A tier to begin with. Next up, we got Ayashri Yazar. I always butcher her name, I can't really pronounce it that well. Honestly, she's like a Dungeons and Dragons character, so I always think she would do well in an escape room, but I am not entirely sure, so I'm going to put her up there in A tier. Next up, we got Lara. I mean, there's nothing really much to say about her. She's just going to go straight up there in S tier. Moving on, we got Trevor. I honestly don't think this guy would do that well in an escape room, to be honest. I feel like he would keep himself together, but he would just be confused for the majority of it. So, sorry buddy, but you're going in B tier. Last but not least, we got Turi. Now, Turi, I think she can hold her own in an escape room, but similar to Trevor here, I honestly feel like she would most likely be confused. So B tier is where she is going to go as well. But anyways, this is my tier list for survivors on how well they do in a horror movie escape room. Some of you are going to agree with my choices, some of you are going to disagree. That is always how a tier list goes. Everyone has their own opinion, which is perfectly fine. But anyways, with that said, hope you guys still enjoyed, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Have a good night, guys.